Hey, this is Ben Solomon, and welcome to this episode of the Techno Leadership Show. In this episode, I want to cover more about financial aspects and budgeting and how to get your business to invest into tech initiatives in a way that allows you to be able to do your best work and get the best possible outcome for the tech team as well as for customers and other stakeholders in a business. So all of this starts with you understanding what the business does, how it does it, and what the vision and expectations of the CEO or CXOs, if you want to look at the overall way, they have for the business and the experience that the customer that interacts with your business is going to have. So as a tech manager, tech director, CIO, CTO, it's your job to understand this holistic picture of what does the CEO expect, what does the rest of the C-suite execs expect, what does your marketplace expect, what do your customers, your current customers, expect from the interaction with your business in terms of support, in terms of the technology aspect, in terms of access, in terms of security, all of that. And then there are regulations, governance principles that you've got to look at as well to be compliant with government legislation, other regulations that are there for industries, and to ensure that you meet data privacy and other such laws and requirements as such. So when you look at all of that, there's a lot of things to consider in the picture of creating a budget that actually works for you, for the technology team, as well as for the exec team to be able to take it to the board, or for you to go to the board and present it as a budget that is covering all bases. So one of the things that has worked for me in this area is one, looking at the holistic picture, two, building roadmaps to cover and fill the gap in any tech debt a company or organization has accrued over the years. Depending on the kind of investment that technology has had in that organization, there is a likelihood that there is some form of a tech debt that needs to be paid over a period of time to bring everything up to the current standards, current requirements, and all of that. But if you have a strategy and a roadmap in the background to do that progressively, to bring it to the right level, after which you can build on and innovate from, that is something that is appreciated by not just the exec teams, but also the boards that oversee the business and everything else. When presenting with budgets, look at what has been historically done, and if it's the first budget that you're creating as a new tech manager or new tech director, one of the things to consider is the fact that you don't know the history of what's happened before, what kind of relationship the previous person had with the board and with the other executive teams. So depending on the organization that I've worked at, depending on the personality type of the CFO, financial controller that I've worked with, what I've generally done is I've created a big spreadsheet with all the existing historic spend, and then I would have a budget for the upcoming year as a forecasted budget, put in all the subscription and rolling costs in terms of leasing and all those sort of things up at the top, because those are things that we are already committed to. And if there are any increases in subscriptions, for example, for software licensing and other things like that, I would have it at the bottom of that stack with the increase and a reason for the increase based on either staff numbers going up, forecast of staff numbers going up, or license prices having gone up to keep up with inflation and other things like that. So all of the explanation I have as notes in each line, so that the CFO, the CEO, if they review it, or if it gets sent to the board, they can review it and see the thought process that has gone into each of the items that I'm asking for to be budgeted for the next year. And so if I'm putting in new initiatives, usually have an explanation of why that initiative exists. And then if there is any regulation, legislation, or anything other governance principles that are there in place to sort of point to, I also point to that so that they can look at that, and if they need information, it's all there in that spreadsheet, links there. They can go to the documentation, they can go to the legislation, any other frameworks that I'm utilizing as part of that process, so that they can for themselves review that if they need to. Because I understand that there are two major type of personalities. There's the people who need a lot of information before they make a decision, and then there's the people who need just a synopsis of what's going on so that they can go, yep, this makes sense, let's move on. And generally I've tended to find that people who are CFOs, financial controllers, accountants, they have a tendency to need more information, need more detailed information and justification. So I usually have short pointers with explanation there so that it makes it easy for them to be able to understand what I'm trying to do and how each of the projects that are forecasted and budgeted or asked to be funded are going to work for the benefit of the organization in the short term as well as the long term. So once all of this is presented, depending on the organization, again, you might have an opportunity to do a presentation to the executive committee or team, or even sometimes to the board. If you do have the opportunity, then obviously the board or the executive team has the opportunity to ask you any clarifying questions on how it all works together. And if you can present it in a manner that they get it, which means it's their vision that is being supplemented or helped to be achieved quicker, better, in a giving greater customer experience and greater experience for the staff, then whether it's an ego thing or if it's a thing of going, look, this person actually gets me and gets the vision for the organization and how we want to serve our clients, there is a much higher probability that you would get funded because the CEO and the rest of the executive team look at it from the perspective that you have stepped into their shoes and seen the vision and you're working to support their vision. There are very few cases in which that may not happen because there's particular political forces in there that one person feels like their vision has to happen and another person has another vision, and that can lead to conflicts. But in most cases, if you can present yourself and present your case in a manner that supports the vision of the person who's the leader of the organization and the person who's gonna open the purse strings for you to be able to do those projects, they are generally at a point where they will support you, will be there to guide you. And also sometimes they might go, have you considered alternatives like XYZ to make sure that we do it at a lower cost but get better outcomes? And be open to those kind of feedback as well, because it's a two-way street. We learn from each other, we grow from each other's experience, and ultimately we're there to support the outcomes that the organization wants. And with the skills that we have, with the knowledge that we have, and the wisdom that we've gained from being in the industry for a long time. And look, one of the reasons that I believe that people who have worked in technology should go into technology management and should go into technology leadership roles like CIO, CTO roles, and director of technology, director of technology security, and all of those aspects, is because I believe that when we have worked in those areas, we have an understanding of how that works, how our teams under us are going to be able to be most effective, and how we can give the best possible outcome for all stakeholders involved, utilizing the capabilities of technology. When there is someone who does not understand technology or how the teams, technology teams and software and everything works, there is a tendency for them to feel like the job is not being done correctly. When you have that experience, when you have that expertise, you know how to set the expectations right, and you also know how to get the most out of the resources in terms of people, technology, and skills that you have in your various teams. So hopefully that helps you out. I wish you all the best in your journey as a tech professional, manager, and leader. If you like this episode, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button so that you're notified of future episodes as they're released. If you have any questions, or if you'd like me to address any other questions or any issues that are coming up in your ascension or towards management roles, or in management roles and day-to-day situations, or in executive leadership roles in day-to-day situations from a technology standpoint or running technology teams, do let me know, and I would love to cover that in a future episode. And once again, this is the second to last episode of this season, and I will be having a final episode next week, this time, where I share what is going to happen in 2023. I will be taking a bit of a break before the next season starts, which will be season 7, I believe, from memory, and what I'll be doing in that break period, and how I'm looking at expanding and providing more value in the form of coaching, in the form of courses and other aspects that will help you with upgrading your technology and engineering professional career into management, and from management into executive leadership, but also to be effective in each of those roles and responsibilities. So hopefully that helps you out. I'll look forward to talking to you again in the final episode of this season. Till then, have a fantastic day and talk to you soon.